Hello everyone, this is Stephen Balch, your instructor for Legal Environment of Business at Ozarka College. Today what I'm going to do is give you just a little bit of feedback on the chapters 5 through 7 activities that I finished grading yesterday. And then I'm going to tell you what we've got coming up due for our next set of activities for chapters 8 through 10. Alright, so the first thing is, like I said, I did finish grading the chapters 5 through 7 activities yesterday. I had graded quite a bit of it Thursday and Friday of last week, but there were a few that I finished grading yesterday. If you haven't already gone in and looked at your grades for the chapters 5 through 7 activities, go ahead and do that as soon as you can. Let me know if you have any questions at all. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have. Overall, most of you did well on the chapters 5 through 7 activities. And like I always tell you, keep up the good work. You're putting in the time and effort, and I really appreciate that. The discussion that we had for chapters 5 through 7 that dealt with quasi or implied in law contracts, I thought that went very well. I really enjoyed reading everyone's comments and examples that you gave. So hopefully that discussion helped you to better understand the concepts that were presented in chapters 5 through 7 on contracts and the various types of contracts like express, implied, bilateral, unilateral, quasi-contract, implied in law, implied in fact. Lots of different types of contracts, different ways that we can categorize contracts, and those were all kind of discussed in those chapters. So hopefully that discussion helped you to kind of better understand the concept, at least of quasi-contracts, and that's really what those discussions are designed to do, is kind of take at least one concept from what we're learning about in the chapters and talk about it in a real world example, basically. All right, so the other thing that I need to mention about chapters 5 through 7 is on the objective test. Most of you did well on that, and some of you took it more than once. But just as a reminder, you can take those chapter tests as many times as you want to up until the due date, and your highest grade is automatically recorded. Also, just as a reminder, I will be opening up those chapter tests later this semester to help you prepare for the midterm and the final exam. So just kind of keep that in mind. All right. So that brings us to what we've got coming up due next. So right now we are on week 4 of the semester. All right. If we go to the activities page, we can see that we're on week 4 of the semester. And this week we have chapters 8 through 10 due. So you have, of course, the assignment, test, and discussion, just like we've had for the first couple of sets of activities. Just remember on the assignment that on the assignment page, just make sure you carefully read through each part of each question and answer each part of each question thoroughly using your own words. Remember the resources that you have available to you, including the PowerPoint slides here, and then also the videos that I've linked. Okay? So just make sure you're using all those available resources. And these chapters 8 through 10 activities are due by Saturday, September 14th. So you've got just a little over a week to be working on those activities and get those submitted. My recommendation is, since this is due on a Saturday, if you don't want to do your work on a weekend, which a lot of us don't want to do work on a weekend, I would go ahead and be working on those activities during this week and get those turned in before Saturday so that you're not, trying to do other things and have other things going on while you are still have to get the activities completed. Definitely don't. You shouldn't wait till Saturday to get started. I would go ahead and be working on it now. And then if you want your Saturday free, you can have it free. All right? So again, chapters 8 through 10, Saturday, September 14th. Let me very briefly here talk about what you're going to be learning about in each of these chapters. Start off with Chapter 8. Chapter 8 covers consideration. Remember, consideration is one of the elements that must be there in order to have a valid contract. So Chapter 8 covers consideration. So you're going to learn about the nature of consideration, the requirements for consideration, and the exceptions to the requirement of consideration. And then at the very end of the chapter, you'll learn about a legal term called promissory estoppel. All right? And so just kind of work through that chapter again. Let me know if you have questions. Chapter 9 covers defective agreements. So there are some contracts that when they are formed, there are some defects. In other words, things that didn't go as planned and didn't go strictly by the law that have to be looked at. And so in this chapter, we're going to learn about some of the mistakes when a contract is formed that may invalidate the contract. Also, some mistakes which will not invalidate a contract. There are some minor mistakes that are allowed in contracts, but there are some that are not. So you're going to learn about the differences in the things, the kind of trivial types of errors that are fine as long as both parties know about those problems. And then there's some mistakes that are not things that we can overcome and make a valid contract from. And so you're going to learn about those. You're also going to, in Chapter 9, learn about the various types of fraud and duress, undue influence, and the remedies for the breach of contract. There, in some cases, when two parties contract, make an agreement, one of the parties, or maybe sometimes both of the parties, may breach the contract. And so in the law, we have to have some kind of remedies in place for that breach of contract. And so you're going to learn about those various remedies for breach of contract. All right, so that's Chapter 9. Then Chapter 10 is going to look at illegal agreements. Okay, they're going to be you're going to learn about some of the illegal agreements, such as contracts which are prohibited by statute and contracts contrary to public policy. There are some things that by law you're not allowed to contract. Some things that you're not allowed to do to create a contract through an agreement on. And so you're going to learn about some of those illegal types of agreements. Okay? So that's chapters 8 through 10. So again, be working on those activities. Get started as soon as you can. Let me know if you have any questions as you're working. I'll be glad to answer any questions you have. Again, remember the resources that you have available. And that's really all I have for you for today. So enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. And I will talk to you again sometime next week. Thank you.